company. We founded that 4 years ago, got the fundings to really have lab last August. And so now we have 3 scientists working almost full-time in a lab here in the United States with the major goal for us to produce a human embryo by human cloning.
Let's say you clone yourself. Should a clone, in turn, be allowed to clone him or herself? How could you possibly say no? And what makes you think you'd even have any control over your genome at this point anyway? In this video we're gonna talk about this serious matter, but first, subscribe the channel for more content like this. Human cloning is the creation of a genetically identical copy of a human. The term is generally used to refer to artificial human cloning, which is the reproduction of human cells and tissue. It does not refer to the natural conception and delivery of identical twins. The possibility of human cloning has raised controversies. Work on cloning techniques has advanced our basic understanding of biology and humans. Scientists are now able to better define steps of early human development. Studying signal transduction along with genetic manipulation within the early human embryo has the potential to provide answers to many diseases and defects.
The technique isn't new, the results are. Microscopic genetic material was taken from an adult cell. It was then inserted into an egg whose own DNA had been stripped out. This creates human embryonic stem cells, which are capable of becoming any of the more than 200 types of cells that make up a person.
Human cloning is currently illegal in virtually all parts of the world, but that doesn't mean it will stay that way. Back in 2005, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a declaration on human cloning prohibiting all forms of human cloning, inasmuch as they are incompatible with human dignity and the protection of human life.
A hopeful society has institutions of science and medicine that do not cut ethical corners and that recognize the matchless value of every life. Tonight I ask you to pass legislation to prohibit the most egregious abuses of medical research, human cloning in all its forms, creating or implanting embryos for experiments, creating human-animal hybrids, and buying, selling, or patenting human embryos. Human life is a gift from our Creator, and that gift should never be discarded, devalued, or put up for sale.
The ruling prohibits both therapeutic cloning, in which cells are cloned from a human for use in medicine and transplants, and reproductive cloning, the practice of creating a living. Though many countries disagreed with the declaration, the resulting moratorium is respected around the globe. But basically, even being banned in some countries, we know that it is possible to do it. We're just not entirely sure if it's completely safe. As the science improves, and as the concept gets normalized in our culture, people's opinions will likely change, and with it, the laws. The moment you choose to reproduce by human cloning, you're going to have to expect that it may not be the only genetic version of yourself to roam this great earth. It's doubtful that the law would preclude your clonal offspring from reproducing in the same way you did. Likewise, a corporation could also claim ownership, particularly if they invented the technique used to clone you. Disturbingly, there's also the potential for someone to clone you illegally. All they'd have to do is gather the required biological material, like your skin or blood cells, and hire a willing surrogate to carry your clone to term. Such an act would be extremely unethical, but not impossible. In the future, credible fertility clinics should refuse to do it without some kind of written consent, but black market options will likely become available. There's also the potential for biotech labs to do it covertly, along with cults and religious groups. Why would someone or some group do this? Aside from religious or profit motives, perhaps they'd be looking to clone their favorite celebrity, or raise a genetic duplicate of their favorite scientist or political figure. Another thing, it's also possible that prospective parents might want to raise the clone of a parent or grandparent who has recently passed away. Of course, and ideally, the deceased person would have given prior consent to such a thing. The laws aren't there yet, but the day is coming when we'll need to clarify in our wills whether or not we would be accepting of this after we pass away. Our genetic constitutions will become part of our estate after death. It appears that we can clone clones indefinitely. Last year, researchers in Japan used the new technique to produce 26 successful generations of cloned mice from a single individual. In total, they produced 598 mice, all of them genetic duplicates. The breakthrough shows that mammalian cloning lines, humans included, can be extended and reproduced without limit. This implies that a kind of genetic immortality can be achieved. An exact replica of yourself can be copied for generations on end. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe the channel and activate the bell.